Hey everyone, and welcome back. I don't know about you, but sometimes I just feel like I am
Yeah.
drowning in information,
Yeah. I hear.
just too much of it. So today we are going to try to cut through the noise
Mm.
and really get to the heart of things with a deep dive into Seneca's On the Shortness of Life.
Great text.
Yeah, it's a classic for a reason, and
Absolutely.
it's packed with timeless wisdom about how to really live a fulfilling life. And it's funny because we all complain about not having enough time, right?
Yeah.
But Seneca's whole premise is it's not really about the length of life, but about how we actually use it.
Right. Right.
So it's not about like living to be 100.
It's about making the most of the time that we have.
Exactly. It's about quality, not quantity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Seneca really believed that a lot of people just squander their time
Oh, yeah.
on pointless pursuits. They get so preoccupied with things that ultimately don't matter.
And he's not afraid to call us out on it, is he?
Oh, no, he's very direct. He's got this great analogy. He compares a life full of meaningless busyness to a sailor who's just being tossed around by storms.
Oh, wow.
They might be at sea for a long time,
Right.
but they're not actually having a fulfilling journey. It's just this constant struggle.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Oh.
So, like, what are some things?
Yeah.
What are some things that you find yourself,
Oh,
getting preoccupied with? What are the things that are kind of?
well, I think for a lot of us,
Yeah.
it's that constant feeling of like, we need to be doing more,
Yes.
Like there's always something else that we
Hmm.
should be doing or could be doing.
Checking off the list.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Seneca would say that's a trap.
Oh, totally. He talks about that someday trap,
Uh-huh.
right? Like, oh, I'll be happy when I retire, or
Or when I get that promotion, or
when the kids are grown.
yeah, exactly. And he would say that that kind of thinking is the biggest waste of life because it makes us lose sight of the present moment.
And he's got that great line where he says,
Oh, which one?
"You are arranging what lies in fortune's control, and abandoning what lies in yours."
So good. It's like he's saying, stop worrying about all the stuff you can't control
Yeah.
and start focusing on how you're actually using the time that you do have.
Right. And it's so easy to get caught up in, you know,
It is.
planning for the future or dwelling on the past.
Absolutely.
You totally miss out on what's happening right now.
It's like we're always living somewhere else but here.
Yeah. And you know what's so wild is Seneca was ranting about these same distractions
Yeah.
like almost 2,000 years ago.
It's crazy, right?
It's crazy. Like, imagine this. A world obsessed with lavish dinners,
Oh, yeah.
endless grooming routines,
Mm-hmm.
pointless gossip. Sound familiar?
He could be describing our world today,
Yeah.
except maybe swap the togas for yoga pants.
Right. And it's not just about, overindulgence or whatever. It's about this emptiness of a life that's driven by external validation and material possessions.
Exactly. Like he tells this story about Apicius.
Oh, yeah. Apicius. Tell that story.
So Apicius was this Roman foodie. He was like the celebrity chef of his day,
Okay.
known for throwing these insane feasts, like the most expensive ingredients, the most extravagant displays. And then get this, Seneca says that Apicius actually poisoned himself
Oh, what?
rather than live on what he considered a measly 10 million sesterces,
Oh, my gosh.
which was an insane amount of money even back then.
Wow. So he would rather die
He would rather die
than not be super rich?
than not be able to maintain his lavish lifestyle.
That is wild.
It is. But it really highlights how, like, insatiable desire can never truly be satisfied. You
Right.
can always want more, have more,
Mm.
and still feel empty.
Wow. So what are
Yeah,
what are some modern day Apicius traps that we fall into? I mean, it makes you think, doesn't it?
it does. Like, are we chasing after things that will ultimately leave us feeling empty?
Yeah.
And what would Seneca say about our 21st century obsessions?
Right. And he was a big believer that philosophy
Oh, yeah.
was the key to breaking free from all that.
Absolutely. Philosophy as a way of life.
And when he talks about philosophy, he doesn't mean we all need to
Right.
become academics or hermits or anything, right?
No. It's about cultivating a certain mindset,
Yeah.
a way of approaching life
Yeah.
with wisdom and purpose.
So it's like,
It's like developing this inner strength, this clarity that helps you cut through the noise and focus on what truly matters.
so how do we do that? Like, how do we cultivate that
Yeah.
inner strength? And especially in a world that is constantly like trying to distract us.
Exactly. Well, Seneca, he tells this amazing story about his own teacher,
Okay.
Zeno,
Okay.
who lost literally everything he owned in a shipwreck.
Everything.
Everything. Can you imagine
Oh my gosh.
losing all your possessions,
Yeah.
everything you've worked for in an instant?
Yeah.
And you know what Zeno said? He said, "Fortune bids me to be a less encumbered philosopher."
Wow.
He saw the shipwreck not as a tragedy,
Oh, wow.
but as an opportunity to simplify his life and focus on what truly mattered.
That is amazing. Talk about turning a negative
Flip
into a
side.
positive. Have you ever
Yeah.
had like a setback in your life that
Hmm.
actually led to something good?
Absolutely. Sometimes it's in those moments of loss or challenge that we really discover
Yeah.
our true strength and resilience.
Yeah. And that's what Seneca is talking about, right? Like
Powerful.
finding that inner anchor
Hmm.
that allows us to weather the storms of life and not get swept away.
Exactly. And he believed that we need to face our fears head on,
Oh, yeah.
including the ultimate fear, death.
And he said we shouldn't be.
He said we shouldn't be afraid of death,
Okay.
but understand it as a natural part of life.
So how does that help us?
Well, if we can really grasp that,
Yeah.
it can actually liberate us to live more fully in the present moment because we're not so consumed by worries about the future or regrets about the past.
Right.
We can just embrace the time we have right now.
It's like if you truly believed you had nothing to lose,
Right.
how would you live differently? What would you
Exactly.
dare to do?
What would you stop putting off?
Right.
Is a powerful question.
Yeah. And we are going to keep exploring that
We are.
in the next part of our deep dive.
Like even deeper.
So stay tuned.
Stay with us.
So we are back and we are talking about Seneca. And,
Yeah.
one of the things that really struck me is how he talks about all the ways we are preoccupied
Brilliant.
with stuff that doesn't really matter.
Preoccupied. That's the word.
Yeah. And we end up, rushing around like crazy.
Constantly.
And we never really start to just like be present and savor the moment.
It's like we're always on to the next thing you know. Always chasing.
Always chasing, yeah. Seneca gives this example of someone who is like always traveling.
Yeah.
But they never really experience any of the places they visit.
Just rushing from one place to the next, checking things off a list.
Yeah. And he says that is how a lot of us live our lives.
It's true. Always looking ahead, never really appreciating where we are.
So how do we break free from that? I mean, he keeps saying philosophy, but what does that even mean?
Right. It's not like we all need to become philosophers,
Yeah.
with the robes and the sandals and all that.
Right.
It's more about developing a certain mindset,
Okay.
like a set of lenses that helps you to see the world more clearly.
To cut through the noise.
Exactly. To focus on what truly matters.
It's interesting that he's writing all this to his friend.
Paulinus.
Yeah. Who was like a high-ranking Roman official.
Right. He was a busy guy.
Yeah. And Seneca is basically telling him like, hey, step back from all that.
Yeah.
Take some time for yourself.
Take some time for philosophy, for reflection.
Which seems kind of counterintuitive, right? Like
Yeah, you would think.
a guy like Seneca who had been in the thick of Roman politics would be all about power and ambition.
But he realized that true fulfillment doesn't come from external achievements.
It comes from within.
It comes from inner peace wisdom and living in accordance with your values.
I love that phrase, living in accordance with nature.
Yeah.
What do you think he meant by that?
Well, I think it's about recognizing that we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're part of this natural order, this web of life.
And when we live in harmony with that,
Yeah.
we find contentment.
Exactly. It's not about rejecting the world or becoming a hermit.
Right.
It's about finding a balance,
Okay.
making time for both our inner and outer lives.
And, even in retirement or in a more private capacity,
Seneca believed that there were still ways to be of service.
you give back.
Yeah, to contribute to the common good.
Like through teaching or offering counsel.
Or just being a good friend.
Right, just being present for others.
It's about recognizing that we all have something to offer.
Regardless of our status or position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about what it really means to live a good life.
Yeah.
It's not about the stuff you accumulate or the titles you acquire.
Right.
It's about living in a way that aligns with your true nature,
Yeah.
with your deepest values.
And accepting our mortality, too.
Oh, absolutely.
That was a big one for him.
Yeah.
He said we shouldn't fear death,
Yeah.
but understand it as a natural part of life.
And you know what's interesting?
What?
He actually suggests that those who are preoccupied with death
Okay.
might actually be hastening their own demise.
Really? How so?
Because they're so focused on avoiding it
Mm-hmm.
that they miss out on actually living.
Wow, that's deep.
It is. It's like they're so busy worrying about dying
Yeah.
that they forget to live.
So how do we shift our perspective so we can, embrace life fully without being afraid?
Well, it's not about ignoring the reality of death.
That's
It's
it.
about recognizing it as a natural part of life's journey.
Okay.
And when we do that,
Right.
we can really appreciate the preciousness of the time we have.
And make the most of every moment.
Exactly, like that beautiful line from Mary Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
That's a good one. Seneca would love that.
You would. He'd be all about living with intention, making choices that align with your values.
And savoring every experience.
Because ultimately, it's not the length of our lives that matters.
It's the depth and richness of our experiences.
And that's something we have the power to create.
No matter how much time we have.
Exactly.
Welcome back. We are wrapping up our deep dive on Seneca's On the Shortness of Life. And
Yeah, it's amazing.
it is amazing. All this wisdom packed into this
I know.
little ancient book.
So many great quotes.
Yeah. Like this one. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it.
Oh, that one hits hard.
I know, right? Makes you think, huh?
It really does. It's like, it's not about not having enough time.
Yeah.
It's about how we're actually using the time that we do have.
Exactly. So true. Okay, what about this one? Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end.
Oh, that's a good one. It makes me think about how life is full of cycles, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's always this,
Endings and beginnings.
endings and beginnings, and we need to embrace that.
Not be afraid of it.
Yeah. See endings not as failures, but as opportunity.
For new growth.
Exactly.
New beginnings. I love that. Okay, how about this one? This is a good one. The greatest wealth is to live content with little.
Ooh, yeah, that's a powerful one, especially coming from Seneca,
I know, right?
because he was a wealthy guy.
He was.
So he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah. It's like he's saying
Yeah.
true happiness doesn't come from stuff,
It comes from within.
from contentment, from
Yeah,
gratitude,
Absolutely. It's about appreciating what you have
Yeah.
and not always chasing after more.
Right. And
Yeah.
realizing that, comparison.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
It is. It is. So after all this Seneca,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways?
Okay, well, I'd say the biggest one is
Yeah.
be mindful of your time.
Yes.
Don't waste it on things that don't matter.
Make it count.
Make it count. Invest in things that bring you joy and meaning.
And build up that inner strength.
Yes. Cultivate that resilience so you can weather the storms.
Because life is going to throw curveballs.
It is. It is. But we don't have to let them knock us down.
We can get back up.
We can get back up.
Yeah.
And remember to embrace the present moment.
Yeah. Don't dwell on the past. Don't worry about the future.
Just be here now.
Be present.
Be present. Appreciate the beauty around you.
Savor the experience.
Because this moment is all we really have.
it's a gift.
It is a gift. Seneca's message is so powerful,
It really is.
and it's so relevant for us today.
Even though he wrote it like 2,000 years ago.
I know. It's incredible.
So I hope this deep dive has inspired you
Yeah.
to think about your own life.
And how you're spending your time.
Make choices that align with your values.
And don't be afraid to let go of the things that are holding you back.
Yeah. It's your life. Live it to the fullest.
Live it to the fullest.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.
Keep seeking, keep learning, and keep living intentionally.